Welcome to this series of films produced by PHP for distribution by freetrainingfilms.com. This next set of films will teach you 20 dynamic ways to close the sale and give you all the information you need to improve your conversion rate immediately. Each film will take you through a tried and tested close with examples of how and when to use them. But before we delve into the topic of closing, let's just take a moment and understand exactly what do we mean by the word close. Firstly, a close is not something that happens at the end of a sale. Closing is something that you do throughout the whole sales process. A close is not some magical statement to trick a customer into buying or to change someone's mind who wasn't going to buy anyway. No, a close is a question which either confirms that the customer is ready to move on to the next stage of the process, or confirms in the mind of the customer that they're happy with whatever it is that you've just said. Ultimately, of course, a close is used to find out whether or not the customer is ready to buy. J. Douglas Edwards, a famous American sales trainer, once summed it up with the phrase, "Questions are the answer." Especially when it comes to selling. No one ever told their way to a sale, but champion salespeople do know how to ask their way to the sale. Indeed, the golden rule of closing is ABC. Always be closing. A closing technique for a salesperson could be compared to punching techniques for a boxer. The more punches you know and the more able you are to use them, the better boxer you will be. The same is true for salespeople. The more closes you know, the more able you are to use them, the more likely you are to be a champion salesperson. In fact, imagine what would happen if you only knew one punching technique. Say a straight right. You throw your best punch and your opponent is still standing looking at you. With only that one technique available to you, you are in big trouble. Now, to stick with this analogy, let's also consider what boxers do with their punches. They put them into combinations and throw them one after the other. This keeps their opponent on the move and scores more points more often. So therefore, in selling, we're looking for as many opportunities as possible to ask more questions. So what we're really saying is, to be a champion salesperson, you stop making statements and start asking questions. Indeed, the only reason for making a statement is to pave the way for a question, isn't it? Did you just nod and agree with me? Consider yourself closed. Talking of questions, the one thing nobody taught me on sales training courses was that the best questions to ask are the ones to which you already know the answer. That's right. Everyone who has been trained in sales knows they should ask lots of questions. But it was whilst I was studying the habits of the truly great salespeople that I realised they could easily anticipate the response they were going to get from their customer to their question. Once again, this matches our comparison to the boxer. A good boxer will be able to anticipate an opponent's response to his attack, and then he can plan his own defence and counter-attack accordingly. So what we have here are a series of techniques which will highlight how you can master this amazing skill. Imagine not just knowing what questions to ask and when, but also being able to predict how the customer will respond and then being one step ahead when planning your next question. And when you've mastered the techniques in this series of films, you will have all the information you need to revolutionize your sales process. So good luck and good selling, and remember, keep your eyes on the website and look out for some more fantastic titles from freetrainingfilms.com.